things happened in the time. And over this period, from a point of being nobody to a point of once you Google my name, you'll find stuff that I did. So once, okay, I would want you to double check if you. I can hear someone. Uh, okay. So from a point of being completely nobody to a point of coming up to a point, let's say you just Google and then you find high on tranquility, being recognized by Google is the story by itself. Manpreet, where are we getting that background noise from?
Hey, you Sam. Sam, can you unmute yourself, please?
Sorry, mute yourself, please.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, cool. All right. So, okay, more than the podcast, I would like you to go here. So open just open Google and type my name. So what is the first thing that came onto your screen? Tell me that. Okay. LinkedIn, Instagram, and. So yeah, this point of being recognized by Google basically comes after a lot of content that is being out there and a lot of recognition that comes in, right? Recognition, I don't mean the felicitation, not that. So okay, this is the story. 1.5 year ago, I'm literally a nobody compared to in the space of podcasting. Even that was the time when nobody, no, not a lot of people knew beer biceps. Not a lot of people didn't even knew that there is this thing called podcasting that existed back then. So that's where the story started, right? So if you can see it in the chat, Sanskar just put something called, uh, okay, yeah, that is exactly okay. That's my LinkedIn page. Other than that, let's talk about this, guys. Honestly, podcasting is extremely easy, but it's a game of execution, right? How well you're gonna execute it is the only thing that matters. So I'll tell you how to start a podcast from a point of like completely in a question being should I start a podcast to a point of today running a podcast with 3 successful seasons and heard across 36 countries is a quite a story. It's quite a story for itself. So it all starts with a basic thing. What do you want to do the podcast as? Guys, tell me honestly, do you want me to speak continuously or shall we make it a discussion session? Something like where I ask you questions so that I can help you figure out your own podcast in real time. Uh, okay. If you want it to be one-sided, put number one. If you want it to be two-sided, put number two in the chat. Guys, one or two. Okay, okay, both right. Cool. Let's start with. Okay, who is here interested to start a podcast? It's fine. Even if you have like literally no clue, I'm here to help. And yeah. Okay, so Domino's is asking, saying initially one. Okay, so you can just unmute whoever wants to. Let's say whoever had this passion of starting a podcast. Just unmute. Anyone is fine.
Yeah, this is me.
Arju, I think we can give the chance for others as well because uh, your story is different. The way
Yeah,
you
yeah,
execute yours is different compared to others.
yeah. But they are
So
not speaking now. I'm
let's
giving
see.
them the confidence now. Ki understand this thing. Ki if I can speak, then they can.
Okay, is there anyone other than Harsh? Okay, seriously, you can just unmute yourself. Nobody's
Yeah,
gonna judge.
I want to start podcasting. Yeah,
Okay, who's this?
White Rose.
Sorry, I couldn't get you.
White Rose. Hello.
Okay, cool. Hi man. So, okay, what are you doing right now? Like, what do you pursue?
BTech
Okay,
Electrical. Yeah,
which year are you in right now?
fourth.
Fourth year, right? So, what is your plan? Let's say, iske baad, like after graduating, what's your plan?
So like normal job, but yeah, like I'm seeing this many people doing different stuff. So I kind of want to like talk to them and record, but yeah, like I don't know. maybe like lack of equipment stops me, I guess.
I tell you, equipment is never a equation over here. So, okay, I'll teach you just two things which will help you just start off without any equipment, and it's never a thing, right? It's never even required. So yeah, White Rose, tell me something like, what are your interests other than engineering?
Graphic designing and like gymming. Yeah.
Okay. So that's really good. So I think you must be watching FitTuber, correct?
Yeah, like FitTuber, Chris Bumstead, Saket Gokhale, and yeah.
Exactly. So why don't you start a podcast? It's purely about motivation and fitness. So at this point, it's not about you have to do your own research and you have to come up with a new formula or a diet that you have to, let's say, create an experiment in. You can just create a podcast, which is basically a combination of all the three. What I mean by that is, uh, you don't need to be the real fittest guy. But at this point, what you could really try is something like you by yourself, let's say talking about a controversy that is happening across these three things, right? Let's say everybody has their own execution styles. It's completely up to you. So when I thought of High on Tranquility, it was a complete different story. Where I wanted to do this podcast, it's about people, experiences, conversations, and all of that. I started this amidst the lockdown, where at a point it's completely nobody asked me to do a podcast, right? So that's when I asked like a couple of my friends who is interested to help me with this, and I think someone called Diana would be here. Yeah. So she was a friend of mine from my school. So she helped me to compose a music, which is basically the theme music of High on Tranquility today. So that was one of the successful things that really happened over that point. In the beginning, we literally had no vision, nothing. Like, where is this podcast going to go and what things are going to happen from this point, right? So what we did was we started a podcast. I mean, right now, if you see, there are nearly 20 to 23 episodes out there, right? In these 20 to 23 episodes, how many episodes are guests? Like there are 20 episodes with guests. That's it. But what about the other episodes? Is it like every single episode that I've done? Is it out there? Is it something like that? Not really. What I would say is I made nearly 60 episodes, and out of that, only 20 came in. 20 came out. It's basically because of the OCD that I have with regards to quality. Because I don't release something without any content. It's no point doing it. So that's where this whole equation comes in. So, White Rose, you were talking about that, right? Like you're interested in fitness. So what really excites you in fitness? Tell me that.
Like in fitness, like there are many people in my college who have like great bodies. So like what changes they apply to their daily life so that it embodied in their like aesthetic bodies. So like yeah, I want to know about their secrets and that secret sauce of them. Like
Okay, that's fine. So, how about you simply go ahead with them and then ask what they do on their regular life? And they always see. I'll tell you, at a point of the peak, I have a couple of my friends who like peak performance gym. So that's where there is a situation that comes in. There are real hardships that they go through, which not a lot of people know, right? Which not a lot of people find. Yes or no?
yeah,
So why don't you make a podcast about that? So, okay, when we say a podcast, everybody sees the Spotify page and nothing more. There is a lot. There is a lot behind the Spotify page. It's not that hard, in fact, to get on Spotify. So today, where High on Tranquility streams is starting from you name a platform, it's there. So let's say it started with Spotify and then went on to Anchor and then went on to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and then today it is on Audible as well. So just imagine Audible being the epitome of paid subscriptions for audio is hosting it. The simple reason is all about the quality, or let's say the experience that we provide, right? Uh, okay, I think Nagendra has been asking about TRS. TRS is basically the Ranveer show. TRS. It's a interesting show. We'll talk about that later. Cool. So White Rose, if I would say, what is really stopping you today with starting a podcast? What is it?
Like it's that like what right questions to ask. Like I mean, I can't really just waste their time. They also have something to do. So like
Okay.
how to figure out the questions you have to like ask the person in a podcast. Like that's what's stopping me. Like
Okay.
if
I'll
I
ask
may
you something. I'll ask you
so,
something. What will you do to get these initial number of people? Let's say you're doing a season one, right? When you're doing a season one, which is basically meaning that you haven't done any episode before, what really would be a motivation for those people to come and be on your podcast? It's just like a YouTube channel. Unless and until you have minimum number of subscribers, people won't be interested to come and subscribe to you, right? Like it's very hard to be that number one subscriber. To be a little more clear, so you're in a BTech college, right? Like if someone asks you to come onto their YouTube channel and take a course on maybe thermodynamics, would you do that? White
yeah, like
Rose?
I would
Okay.
see like
Let's say the channel has like 2 subscribers. What would you do? Would you still do that?
no at least 100.
See, you by yourself have a number. It's called a threshold frequency value, right? This threshold value is something that I'm going to talk about now. I'm going to deep dive into some of the serious tricks and techniques that really helped Ion Tranquility to get to a point which you have not imagined at all. So I'll take you through it. Just give me 1 second. I'm opening Spotify. Just 1 second, guys. Okay, is it fine if I start sharing the screen so that it'll be much more easier? 1 for yes, put number 0 for no. Guys, put number 1 in the chat if yes, put number 0 if no. Be active, guys. Be active, at least. Okay, cool. Okay. I hope you can see my browser. Is it visible? Is my browser visible, guys?
Yeah, it's visible.
Awesome. Cool. Let's go ahead with deep diving into podcasting at this point. I'll tell you something. So right now, what has been happening? I've done these many episodes, right? Like after these many episodes, what would be someone's motivation? Okay, I'll tell you about this latest episode, right? So this guy, his name is Vivek Mehta. He works in this firm called New Tribe Capital. This is a Dubai-based venture capital firm which invests. I mean, they're like in their entire company. Guess how many employees they would have? I would want someone to tell me if. Tell it by word because if I switch back, my screen starts to buffer. Anything in mind? Okay, how many employees? Okay, this company manages multi-million dollars and invests in latest crypto companies and projects. Guess how many employees this company would have? Okay, we have things in the chat: 1,000 people, 50 people, 500, 100. So I'll tell you honestly, the number of people in Sanskar, that's quite a number, 626. I don't know what's your hypothesis for that number though. Cool. This company had 6 people in their team. Yes, 6 people as their maximum number in their entire company. Just imagine, for a company that manages millions of dollars, and then being one of these 6 guys is not easy. Yes or no? Like, is that an impressive profile or not? Guys, say yes if you think it's impressive, say no if you think, nah, that's just so easy. Okay. Right? 6 people managing an investment of millions of dollars is a whole different ball game. And these people are extremely young. This guy, Vivek Mehta, is 24 years old. He's like 4 or 5 years elder than me. That's it. He's 24 years old. And the other members in the team are a maximum of 35, 40. I don't think 40 is, I think 40 is a big number. 35 is the age of that company. So for someone who is at this position, who is extremely deep into, let's say, investing, he talks about this day in this podcast. He talks about his life, how it feels and how it looks. He works 24/7 in terms of like there's no specific work-life balance that he has. He's like whenever there is a need, he just needs to jump on that. Once he gets a call, he just needs to jump into that. So that is how his business is like. So it is extremely challenging. How would I convince someone like him to spend nearly 2-3 hours to be a part of my podcast? Do you think that's hard or easy? Guys, did you get what I'm trying to say? For someone who is that extremely busy, how would you convince him or her to come as a guest and spend something like 3 hours at least on your podcast? So that is what we're going to crack in the next 10 minutes. So this is where we need to go. I think Amazon Music would do a better job for this because that has a different representation by itself. Just one sec, guys. Right. So here, this is High on Tranquility podcast, right? If I put the filter, wait, before there used to be a filter. That's fine. Cool. Let's get back to Spotify itself. So this is season 1, right? This is the pilot episode. Pilot episode is basically the trailer. If you open High on Tranquility on your phone, Spotify on your phone, the first thing that comes onto your screen is basically this introduction and this recording. I would want you to go and listen to that because that I took nearly 3 days to figure out what exactly to speak in that. When you send your podcast link to someone, this is the first episode that they're going to listen. Tell me something, guys. Like when you stalk someone on Instagram, how long does it take for you to judge about them? Is they worth your time or is they just like another cringe reel maker? It is basically the time of 2 reels, right? 15, nearly 13 to 30, 1 minute. The maximum you're going to spend is 1 minute. How would you ensure that you create something that's going to get them hooked on the first minute? Is this episode? Is this, hello, this is Chandan Perla. So I talk about myself. I talk about why I started this podcast. That's there over there. But the way you deliver it, the way you tell the story is all that matters over here. When we say a story basically means a vision of this company. Imagine podcast being a startup by itself. Today podcasting is pretty profitable. So considering it as a startup, everything, this is like an MVP, the minimum viable product. Why should someone listen to your product? Why should someone spend time listening to your podcast, right? How would you convince that? And we are not talking about normal audience. We are talking about the guests. These guests, dude, I'll tell you honestly, in the first, second episodes, you don't really want someone cringe, right? You want someone really good because for any TV show, season one, episode 1 is what gonna make unless and until, sorry. Arun, I can hear your background noise. Kindly mute yourself. Manpreet, can we mute him? All right. So that's where this thing starts, right? How do you make your initial episodes really good? Because at the end of the day, the season 1 is gonna make a lot of difference. So I'll tell you honestly, this is the first ever episode of High on Tranquility. I never ever thought of making an episode with someone as big as Ishan Goda. Today, Ishan is a macroeconomist and he's pretty big in terms of the work that he did. So how did I approach him? So White Rose, are you there?
Yes.
So let's say if you want to make a first episode, what would you do? Let's say someone who is really good, at the same time someone who can come upon you asking. How would you sell them the vision?
So basically, like I understand that it is a game of give and take, I guess. So
Okay.
maybe I would have to first like do pilot episodes first and create some maybe audience or momentum. Then I can show him that yeah, I have this much episodes. So yeah,
Okay, so this is what it is. Go to people who are desperate. I'll tell you, if you look around your college, there are people who are insanely blasting with knowledge, but they don't get the validation, right? Validation का मतलब ये होता है कि like they don't get recognized for what they are, for what they truly are. For example, okay, let's say there might be a freelancer over this call who would be making, let's say, nearly 2-3 lakhs a month. The reason why he or she goes and does shows or maybe puts herself or himself out there on Instagram is basically to get that validation कि यार तू बहुत cool काम कर रहा है. So that is a factor which really gets a lot of people hooked, right? That is not something which everybody can do. Not everybody gets. There are a lot of people who are really good with speaking. There are a lot of people who are blasting with knowledge, right? So these people, you go and tap them. This first person, Ishan Goda, is a macroeconomist doing his right now. I think he's doing some sort of a professional degree. I'm not really sure of that. I went and tried to get a slot. I didn't even have the, let's say, solid studio and all of that because that's all high investment in the beginning. So we used to record late night at 1:30 a.m. Getting his time slot at 1:30 is another whole different story by itself. So that's where we recorded at 1:30 in the morning. And like, I'll tell you, it's a 60-minute long podcast, right? Guess what? If your first episode itself 60 minutes, nobody cares about it. By just looking at that, it is 60 minutes, they're just gonna run away. It's not just High on Tranquility. You consider Raj Shamani, or you consider Beer Biceps, or you consider Joe Rogan. The starting episodes are to make you taste how the entire desert is gonna look like. Imagine this to be a restaurant. This is like the first, let's say, starter that you're gonna get them into. So that's the reason why I've cut 60-minute ka podcast into 13 minutes itself. At that point, I honestly, all I knew was a basic Audacity. And if you don't know what Audacity is this extremely simple and easy tool, which you can download it for free from Audacity's official website. So yeah, that is all there. But you never stop there, right? So that's where my first season came in. So Ishan Goda and then Holy French Fry. This guy is someone who is a YouTuber, who's a small YouTuber. So when you say that you want to run a podcast which is about people and different types of categories, right? So that's when this comes in. You first went with economics. This is a little nerdy, but you want to go for something that's a little dumb. I don't mean dumb. I mean little Gen Z, and that's where YouTubing comes in. And after that, I want to get into a real something which can give me a Kickstarter, like a real good number of listens, like something that can help this podcast penetrate. And that's where I got someone who, as a Senate of the US elections. So that was a pretty big deal, though. So that is what it is. And after that, we got someone called Shivam Ray. Okay, so going on that, Shivam Ray is another guy who talks about these platforms, how data is being fed, how your data is being sold out there in the market. And after that, I want to go for pop culture. And that's where MC Blue, he's a famous MC, if you know, rapper, is there. And that is the end of season 1 of High on Tranquility. And I did 6 episodes. It's called Embrace Naturality. At the end, there are a lot of people in my circle itself making fun about me, right? When you start doing something, your circle itself will start making fun of you. Yes or no? Do you agree with me on this point? I mean, when you try doing something, a lot of resistance comes from your surroundings. I don't say that others don't support you. They do support you. But the first thing that would come is resistance. अरे यार तुमको क्या करना है? क्यों करना है ऐसे? Yes, sir. Please don't mind my Hindi. मैं अभी सीख रहा हूँ. That's fine. Yeah. All right. So that is right. You agree with me? जाएगा. क्या मिल जाएगा? Exactly. What do you gain out of it? So that is where I released this episode called Embrace Naturality. When someone says that, bro, तू ऐसे क्यों बात करता है? Bro, तू ऐसे क्यों बना रहा है? I was like, dude, I simply want to do what I love. I mean, embrace naturality. That's my line, and that's when I named this podcast episode as a season finale. And that did really make a good ending for season 1. Wait, where we can find it? It's on Spotify. You can just Google High on Tranquility, or you can just Google my name and you'll. So, is this clear until here? Is it clear until here? This is how we made the first initial season. Guys, yes or no? You can just unmute and say yes.
Yes, clear.
Okay. Guys, are you still with me? Can I see? Okay. I don't want messaging. I want you to speak with me now. Just unmute. I'm here and cut. I mean, just say that you're here and then mute. Can we do that? That's a minimum, guys. It's fine. If background noise bhi aa raha hai, to theek hai.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, here.
Okay. Thanks for that. Okay, cool. Sanskar, appreciate that you are consuming content along with consuming nutrients. But yeah, okay, bad joke. Anyway, so another thing that you guys have to seriously consider is this factor of branding. Okay. How many of you have actually gone through the podcast when I asked you to Google it? Anyone? Like, it's fine. Did you go through the podcast? Guys, someone unmute yourself. I'm gonna ask you a few questions. That's it. Okay, Domino's. Domino's, can you speak?
Yep.
Okay, Domino's. When you Googled High on Tranquility, what was the first thing that you saw?
Your podcast that is on Spotify.
Okay, the logo, right? Did you recognize the logo? Is the logo attention grabbing? The podcast cover. Domino's. Okay, fine.
It's just smooth the title.
Okay, cool. Is there someone else who appreciates design or something, like anyone here who like has a different opinion towards it? Anyone? Wait. Okay, Harshu would be a really good person for this. He designs thumbnails for Josh Talks. Yeah, the 7 million channel. He designs thumbnails. Harsh, are you there?
Yeah, I am.
So
Yeah.
what's your opinion? What's your opinion on this thumbnail, right? What do you think about this?
Yeah, I have seen already this, that इसका जो thumb है. तो basically जब भी ये मैं देखता हूँ ना, like जो word है high करके, there is a high on tranquility. तो tranquility का मतलब मेरे को नहीं पता, but high जो word है high, it is came from that term कि जब आप है ना, आप जब वो किए रहते हो, नशा किए रहते हो, तो आप high हो जाते हो. तो सारे जो आप देखोगे ना, ग्राफिक देखोगे जितने भी इंटरनेट पे अवेलेबल है हाई से रिलेटेड, उन सब में वैसे ही मोशन हो रहा है जैसे कि वहाँ पे साइड में दिखाया गया है. एक ऐसा एक आदमी है जो कि थोड़ा काम है, डिजाइन जो मेरे को दिख रहा है, और साथ में वो जो हाई हम शो करते हैं ग्राफिक्स में, उसको दिखाने का कोशिश किया गया है जो इमेज है. तो मोर ओवर मतलब जो मेरा पर्सपेक्टिव है देखने का वो ये है कि यार काफी सही बना है, और बेटर ये है कि यूनिक है. ठीक है, ऐसा नहीं कि कुछ भी रैंडम कहीं भी कुछ भी लिख दिया. सही.
Okay, thank you for that. So I'll tell you something, guys. About this, we really worked for like 2 weeks straight upon the concept of making a podcast design. Because when I need to convince someone to immerse themselves into something, I'll tell you. So have you ever realized why is iPhone ka dabba is that a little bit harder to open. It takes a few seconds to open. When you just like hold the edges, it slowly opens and then falls down. You are you relating like with what I'm trying to say? So there's this concept called dopamine release. Unless and until you get that experience of releasing that slow grand entry, you don't feel it honored of spending nearly 1 lakh on a phone. Do you agree with me on this point or not? I mean, if you get iPhone on a wrapper, just like you cut a cover and then you pull out a phone, उसमें मजा नहीं आता है. It's the entire grand design of that box. Do you agree with me or not? If yes, put number one in the chat. If no, come, let's debate. Okay. Guys, you can message in the chat. Okay, Abhishek, you want to ask me something? Cool. Abhishek, what's your question?
Yeah. It's not about the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask about yourself. How you know what to talk next? 5 minutes to 10 minutes. Are you prepared it earlier or you continuously talk at what come in your mind?
No, this is not like something prepared. This is completely unscripted because this is a journey that I've been through. So I think I can talk about it.
How much confidence you have? That's why I'm asking this question.
I mean, is that like, are you saying that is my confidence good or is it bad?
Yeah, it's good only. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, cool. I mean, we can talk about that later, but I think we'll talk about that at the end. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, Abhishek. Yep. Cool. So that's where we reach to the point of branding, right? How important it is to brand. Dude, I'll tell you honestly, unless and until you make a really, really grand, wait, okay, what example can I give? People say that they don't judge a book by its cover, right? That's 100% wrong. People do judge a book by its cover. If you think about yourself, or let's say, if you ask anyone, they just say that, no, we look what things are at the end. So yeah, if you take any book, one thing which really gets your eye is basically the design. How premium, how different you could make a design is all the game in. So this cover has a story behind it. I got a friend. I got a friend called Ria. Ria basically works for Pinterest. If you know what Pinterest is that one app where you can find a lot of design on. Let's say a lot of artists go for motivation, let's say for designing onto Pinterest, and she works for Pinterest. So Pinterest is one of her client, in fact, for a few designs. So I went straight to her, and this was my discussion with her. Dude, I'm honestly starting a podcast, and this is the vision. I just made her listen the first episode, right? And I told her the concept of this is how I want the podcast to be, where I want a mic of the late 1970s, and then I want a person where I want to use colors which are aesthetically pleasing. This blue is some sort of a sea green blue. I don't know what exactly you call. Yeah, that is a little bit about it. If you ask me about should I really care about making this podcast cover, I'll also give you a hack with which you can make a really good looking podcast cover under 50 seconds. So yeah, wait, I could hear some SOMZ, SOMZ. I can hear background noise. Kindly mute yourself.
I'm really sorry for that.
Yep, thank you. All right. Okay. And that's when you start the podcast, what is the first thing that you listen? Number one, it's the voice. Uske baad, do you listen to the music as well, right? So music plays an important role, especially when you're playing the games of blind. Nobody can really understand when you are starting a segment and when you're ending. When you're jumping between two topics, the one single thing over there is all about sound, right? Let's say if you go to a railway station, how would you know that they're making an announcement? That starting beep. These are extremely subtle, but they make a lot of sense. And especially in podcast, you have to have a double eye over that. And I'll tell you, So the music that you've heard is been composed for more than 3 months. Uh, it's been created by one of my producers called Diana. She is one of my friends from school, and she is a musician. So she helped me to carve this music to what it is today. After a lot of iterations, we came up with this. If you ask me, should I spend a lot of time on making a podcast, music and all? Just don't care about it. At the end, it's the quality, it's the content that you're providing. So in the beginning, someone mentioned that they didn't have the materials to start with. Okay, how many of you think that materials, let's say you need a really, let's say, ये जो beer biceps use करता है ना, that mic, it's called Shure SHURE SM7B. It costs 40,000 rupees. For a mic, for someone who starts, it's not at all required. I mean, if you say everybody requires a podcast mic, seriously and honestly, 100% no. I'll tell you, I started recording on my phone, and then slowly started reinvesting, and then got a mic. It's called Zoom H1N, which costs like 5,000-6,000 rupees. And with that 5,000-6,000 rupees, the amount of ROI that we are bringing today is purely, let's say, upscaling. I don't say that you have to buy a mic. I'll tell you one app. Which can help you replace these mics completely. Just open your Play Store and search for this app. Okay, any guesses, anyone, like, about this app? Hopefully, a couple of you might be knowing this app. Any idea, anyone? Okay, Anchor is one, no? Okay, Redfong, okay. Next. Okay. Okay. How many of you know Dolby? I'm not saying Dolby as a recording app. Dolby as a sound system, the quality, let's say the channeling of audio systems. This is like a common thing that we get in movie theaters, right? Dolby 7. Dolby 9.1.4. उसका मतलब ये होता है कि Dolby is basically the number of channels your audio stream is getting divided into. Does it make sense? So, for example, if you're listening something, you're able to listen me on a stereo. जैसे कि like your left and right sound the same because I'm using my earphones, and they're like decent quality. But when you go for something like a movie production, a TV show production, you have to really consider about the left and right differentiation. जैसे कि what comes on my left, I mean, if a character is on the left side of the, his audio should be much more compared to the one on the right. So this is very important in podcasting, and that's where you don't need to buy any mic. You don't need to buy any mic or anything. The only app that would save you everything is this app called Dolby On Record. Wait, I'll just try to put the link of that, और मैं इसका screenshot डाल रहा हूँ. Just 1 second. Just a second. Can someone find it at the same time along with me? Wait. Damn, I'm sharing my screen again. Yep, this is the app that I was talking about. It's available on both iOS and Android. It is extremely, it's a gold mine, in fact, that helps you record some of the best quality music for literally nothing, guys. You didn't even need to spend a single penny on that. Guys, honestly, this is free. You just download, it will help you noise cancel as well. Okay, so we are here after recording the audio, right? So I'll tell you one thing, guys, like whenever you come with something that is extremely scripted, that's gonna go worse. When you come everything prepared, I mean, planning is good. Being prepared is really great. But let's say scripting everything line to line, whatever you wanna speak, is not at all good. Guys, tell me honestly. I have like 25 people in the beginning and 28 people as I speak now. Like, the retention is 100%. Did you like the discussion? Because why? Do you think I'm reading line by line, or is it just an impromptu? If you think I'm reading line by line, put number 1. If you think this is good, this is engaging enough, this is like completely unscripted, put number 2 in the chat. Can I see number 2 in the chat? Guys, to the bare minimum, be responsive in the chat. That's the only way I can get the validation, right? That you guys are liking. Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So right now, everything is clear. Like until the point of recording a podcast. Okay, this is how you record. You don't need anything. You don't need literally anything fancy. If you think there is a lot of background noise, wake up at 2 a.m. Anywhere 2 a.m. is like that place where honestly it's a silence place, right? I mean, that's where I record honestly. Okay, for someone who's asking the name of this, I'm just putting the link. It's called Dolby On. Just one sec. You guys can download it right away. Yep. So, yep, that helps you to record really high quality audio. And after that, you don't come. If you have a laptop, is fine. If you don't have a laptop, just simply go to this app called Anchor. Okay, I have made it on now. Okay, cool. Thank you. So do you want me to talk a little bit about scripting? Like how do you tell stories in a captivating manner? Do you want me to talk about that a little? Okay. So fine. When you're saying something, people have to get stuck to it, right? When you tell a story, you start with saying that. Okay, if I want to tell a horror story, I would say that it's 1987, Indiana. A guy, let's say, a 14-year-old guy is riding alone his bicycle and then riding towards the north of a city in Indiana. And suddenly, he comes across a tree that is looking weird. And I cut. And I start from the beginning. So that is exactly, I mean, this is something which you understand as you listen more podcasts, because this is not something which can be explained in a way. I'll tell you guys, like, when you start a story, there is an opening, there is an introduction, there is a body, and there is an end, right? So imagine the very same formula over being here. When you start a podcast, you example, okay, guess what? This very recording in which we all are in right now can seriously go as a podcast. Why not? This is an audio experience that I'm selling. We can do it on Zoom, but why did we not do on Zoom? Is the simple reason that I want you to guys feel that we are in a podcast recording together. So in the beginning, when I said that making a podcast 0 to 36 countries is a story by itself, and the way we run it is the biggest hook that I created. At the same time, another thing for all those who want to start your own podcast, there is something that I'm providing you at the end of this episode, at the end of this discussion. So that is another hook. When you create hooks that are meaningful, that others crave for, that others like, the value that only you could provide is what really makes people be there at the retention. So that is the game, honestly, about writing scripts. And other than that, it's not about using fancy words. Till today, I don't care about using fancy words. I just care about you understanding what I'm trying to say. It's not about me saying that मुझे बहुत अंग्रेजी आती है, उससे किसी को नहीं फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला है. The only thing is how well you understand the emotion that I'm trying to say. That's all the game. And after that, there was this thing. Yeah. So we recorded we recorded the episode, and then so there's another app called Anchor. Now we need a publisher, right? It's just like writing a book. You wrote a huge script. And after writing the script, you take it to, you just go one person to another, and then you try giving people. And that's not an easy way, right? Because your distribution channel has to be really, really big. And that's where there are these big things like, okay. Someone's asking, can we use Dolby on Android? Yes, completely. I myself am an Android user. Yeah, this is an Android app as well. So it's available for both the people. So yeah. So that's where this thing comes. What was I talking about? What was I talking about? Anyone? Okay, Anchor. So yeah, talking more about Anchor. Anchor is this one big publisher that I got in the beginning. So back then when I started podcasting, it was a time when Anchor didn't even exist. I mean, today Anchor has been acquired by Spotify. So it's getting onto Spotify is extremely easy. But I'll tell you guys, like there are a few platforms which will ask you to pay nearly $10-15 on an initial amount to get your podcast out there on all streams. But I would say that never invest even a single rupee unless and until you see money coming out of it. Never ever do that. So that's all it is. The reason why you put, let's say, a few lakhs into your education over the last 10 years is for the hope that you'd be able to make at least 15, 16, 20x of that in the next 30 years of your life. So that is the simple story you have to follow anywhere. And that's where this thing comes. Wait, someone's asking. Okay, what are revenue from a podcast sponsors? And okay, so one is definitely sponsors, and the other thing, what I generally do is create something called as a multiple podcast chain. So when I start a podcast, you run episodes, right? Okay, no, ads are not yet a big thing here in India or anywhere in the world. Unless and until you are Tim Ferriss, you can run 10-minute long advertisements which can make you at least like a 20 like $10,000-15,000 a season. I mean, that's a whole different game. One thing which I do to generate revenue is that, so I started building, I've built High on Tranquility. It's been going pretty well. I upload like one episode every 2 weeks. That was the consistency that I used to do. But now it has been gone to one every month because I graduated and there are other things to manage. So that's there, right? So that's when I started building a chain of podcasts under the name of Pure Perception Media. So after building 6 podcasts in the regional space, we were able to pull off audience of 100,000 people. 100,000 is a massive number. When I go to companies and say that I can get your product heard by 1 lakh people, and would you be able to pay me, let's say 30,000, 40,000 for this ad campaign, which can go for X amount of days with X amount of time? Would you be interested? I mean, it depends upon the product, right? If they think they can get an ROI, they go for it. That is one way. And the other thing is, which really, really makes a lot of sense, is advertising. I mean, this is advertising, right? Another thing is basically selling yourself into other products. So in the beginning, I started my podcasting under the name of I had my own event business. It's called I was a part of this company called UHM Fest, which is now South India's biggest inter-school fest. So that's where I started promoting High on Tranquility. And now High on Tranquility is a space where we promote a lot of stuff, a lot of platforms. So that mutual promotion, little bit of advertising, but not product, but service advertising also helps. I'll tell you one golden trick. Advertisement is not always something which comes with a jingle in the beginning. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna get a glass of water. All right, I'm back. So yeah, this thing, advertising is not always that you think it is advertising. I'll tell you something. There are influencers on Instagram who make a lot of money from videos without sponsored that tag or paid partnership tag, compared to the ones who has these in paid partnership with this X and Y company. So the amount of subtleness in which you put the product or service is how you make money out of it. Is this clear by any chance? If not, like, you can ask me the question. For example, if you want to talk about, let's talk about a book called Hooked, right? Let's say if you want to promote a book called Hooked. So what we do in this episode, I talk about saying that a few days ago I've been listening to this. I've been reading this article from book called Hooked by Nir Eyal. I think you all guys have to definitely read this book because this is a gold mine. At the same time, this book talks about a few things, how you as a freelancer, at least like a 15, 20, 25-year-old can make money out of other streams. A lot of people like Ali Abdal also talk about making other streams, right? A lot of people like Karma Medic, Ali Abdal, and these hustlers talk about 15, 16, let's say at least 3, 4 different streams of making money. Like, did you get what I'm trying to say? Mm, like when you think of making money, it's not just about the time of you working day. The money has to work for you the other way. So okay, if you think this last 1 minute or 2 minutes has been a snippet in my podcast, what would you think? In the beginning, I said that I read Hooked. It basically means that this Hooked as a book is a part of my lifestyle. And iske baad I talked about validation. By validation, I mean I talked about how big this product is being in. We all know how big Ali Abdal is. Ali Abdal is like the real big, awesome guy whom everyone who wants to be productive watches. So when I use the word, Ali Abdal also reads this book, and also it talks about the streams of and then validation comes in. It's not just me, but people like Ali Abdal are talking about this, right? So that's when the value of let's say necessity comes about this book. But uske baad, what is the last hook that I put in? You can make money out of it. It can help you grow your personal brand, your personal finance. That helps you manage yourself better. And these are the 3 hooks, which are like a golden hook, which can get literally not just you, not just me, any single human hooked to to his or her podcast. And that's how you as a producer, you as a podcaster, make money in a nutshell. If you keep compounding this, it's fine. You won't be able to make money out of the first or second season. It's fine. But you just need to keep doing it consistently. Even though you get nothing, just imagine the motivation that you are seriously being listed on Spotify, guys. That's an awesome thing, in fact. So that is about it. Okay. So now we can open the Q&A session. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. Yes. Go on.
Hello.
Yes.
Like, why I have this curious question. Why did you start this podcast?
Okay. Why I started podcasting?
Yeah.
Okay. My theory of podcasting is that I want to be a content creator, but not an influencer. If you know the difference, there is a lot of cringe that goes behind influencers as a name. But I wanna say that I love audio. I freelance for a lot of companies in the space of audio, making campaigns for people online. But why can't I make the game work for me? So that's where I wanted to start something in the space of podcast. Number one, podcasts are extremely easy, rather starting a YouTube channel. Because YouTube channel, you need to consider a lot of things. Something like your background, your lighting, your ambience, and every single aspect. Right? So it's all a game that you play. Like, I mean, audio is super easy to work, super extremely handy as well. So yeah, that is about it. That's why. Also, I love talking to people. And that's when the core of my podcast is talking to people again. And if you hear any episode, it's not a lecture. It's not a one-sided or it's not a question and answer sort of a thing. It's a pure thing. Let's say I ask them a question which intrigues me, and they answer it. Guys, one thing which I want to say is that when you approach someone, yesterday even Harshi was talking about the very same thing. When you approach someone who is really big, let's say, okay, if I wanna get Raj Shamani onto the podcast, not Raj Shamani, I want to get Beer Biceps onto the podcast, then we clearly go and cold email, right? Cold message, right? So you don't say that, hello, sir, good morning, sir, I'm a big fan, and all of that. You never ever say that you're a fan. When you say that you're a fan, anyone can misuse you. In terms of when you want to approach someone, you say that, hey, hi, buddy, I've been following your work and it's pretty awesome and it's really interesting. Let me know if you'd be interested to be a part of my podcast. You be pretty casual with them because at the end of the day, they are humans and you are humans. And like that natural conversation really connects. Embrace naturality. That's it. So that's the story behind podcasting. Yeah. Yes, we can go to the next question. Guys, what's your question? Okay, how? Yeah.
Can you suggest some good podcast present in the YouTube?
Sure. High on Tranquility is one. Definitely give it a listen to that. Okay.
What?
Okay. So,
4 to 5 podcast anything.
sure. Just kidding. Just kidding. I'm like promoting this very podcast. So, other few podcasts which I generally appreciate, I genuinely listen to is one episode by, is this by Ranveer? It's called TRS, The Ranveer Show. It's really good. Other than that, I listen to another Hindi podcast called Dostcast, DOSTKAST, and it's pretty awesome. CAST, Dostcast, and then uske baad, I listened to Kenny Sebastian's show. I used to listen. It used to be pretty therapeutic, like very silent, very smooth, and yeah, it used to be great, in fact. And at the same time, okay, Raj Shamani to hai, but yeah, sometimes I listen to Raj Shamani. Okay, yeah, Samir and Collins is a very another interest. I think everyone have to listen. Yeah, I think yeah, these are a few episodes that I would like to suggest. Podcasts that I would like to suggest. Okay, welcome. So, guys, remember in the beginning I said there is something very special for you all at the end. So, yeah, okay, are you guys excited for it? Because like I'm genuinely excited for what we're trying to do. If you're excited, can we see number 7 in the chat? Can we see number 7 in the chat? I want every one of you to respond. Okay, cool. Thank you. That is the thing I want to see. Awesome. Guess what? We are bringing back a project called Bluelearn Originals, where we as a company support you to start your own podcast. We provide you one-on-one mentorship. We ka matlab, I provide you mentorship. Don't worry, not others as well. So I provide you mentorship. All you need is like, I want you to have like super intense tensegrity. Uska matlab ye hai ki I want you to be like super interested in starting your own podcast. If you have the will, we have the resources, and I can help you from the beginning. Like we can do a mentorship sessions as well, guys, for free. Don't worry. I don't want to charge, because in the beginning I was in a pretty big dilemma, like where to start, how to start, kaise karna hai. Like I hope you guys got some knowledge out of the end of this like 1 hour discussion. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. At the same time, yes, we can do the mentorship thing.
Hey bro,
Yes, who is it?
it's Chris,
Yes, Chris, tell me.
and I want to ask something.
Sure.
So my question is that how to develop the skill of storytelling? Tell me
Storytelling.
tell me any three top tips.
Okay, so for storytelling, I had this thing, bro. When I was in my class 7, there was this thing that happened, right? I used to go to a tuition. Where in this tuition, it was honestly, there are like a lot of people there in that tuition, and there was just like one single, nearly 50 people in that entire tuition. Tuition ka matlab, the thing which we go after college, after school, right? So
Yeah, I
right
got it.
after that, I mean, after school, we all used to go there. And then what happens? Like nearly 50 people used to be there as students. And there was just like one person, and there was just like one professor who's going to handle it all. Guess what? If we speak, he's going to bang us like massive. And back then, there were no strict rules about like, violence. So he used to beat people like real bad. That was one of the most toxic situations where, I mean, I've seen like during my class 7, dude, I'll tell you honestly, that is one of the dumbest tuition I've been to, because the only thing that works for them is mugging up content as much as possible. You mug up, you put it right out there, you write on a book, and then you go to him. Dude, it used to be so bad that they used to look at sentence to sentence. They don't even used to understand what the meaning of the subject is. I mean, So that's not something which
That's
we look forward to,
not
right? And that's how you
yeah.
tell a story, brother. And that's how you tell a story, nothing more. Okay. Did you get what I'm trying to say? Okay. It's a story ka matlab, it's not something that you build out of knowingly. It is something you do unknowingly, right? For example, I didn't say that I'm gonna start a story now. And because it would make you be ready. For example, when someone raises a hand to, let's say, to beat you, let's say to punch you, your body will be almost ready, right? Your body would almost be ready to take that punch. You'd be a little bit stiff, right? But unless and until it just happens out of random, if someone comes and pats you in the back, you never know that. So that is basically storytelling. And okay, guys, do you want a session on storytelling? Because I think we can do a session maybe in the next week about storytelling.
Uh,
Yeah, tell
I
me.
got it, but how to be better at storytelling? I wanna know how to practice it, and yeah.
You have your friends, brother. You go and talk to them and tell stories which they have never imagined. So yeah. Okay, I'll tell you. One thing which worked for me is I'll show you something. This is an activity that like I am genuinely I love doing it. I open I open YouTube, I open something, and then okay. So let's say I go for this app called Random Word Generator. Okay. And then in Random Word Generator, this thing comes. So I ask you to generate a word, ritual. So if I start a story, something like, so ritual, India is a ritual centric country, right? Rituals are extremely important in a country like India. So that's where Gen Z is like completely coming out of rituals because of modernization, where we all believe in the podcasts that come in Spotify. High on Tranquility is one such podcast which everyone loves, and also people honor, let's say, being showing on the show. At the end of the day, floating in high on tranquility is basically the theme why we started the podcast. High on tranquility, you get high on tranquility. Tranquility ka matlab a sense of satisfaction. After you get a sense of let's say getting the knowledge that you want, is basically this knowledge is a remedy to get yourself satisfied, and that is basically how the word high on tranquility came from scrap. Okay. Did you see what I tried to do?
Sorry, dude.
Wait,
I
wait.
went.
My laptop just froze. Guys, were you still able to listen to me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay, okay, wait. My laptop just froze. Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, that is how. Okay, it's back. How you can practice on a regular basis. So that helps. That helps.
Okay. Thanks for your
Welcome, man.
advice.
No problem. No problem. Anytime. Yeah, guys, it's fine. If you have any questions, you can ask. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I have a question like what are the ways you can monetize your like
Podcast.
yes.
So with regards to monetizing podcast, I already told about it. So number one, it is basically by advertising. Advertising is not that easy. So there is this concept called product placements. You use the product in a discussion in such a way that people want to buy it. People want to use it. Dude, MJ, if I come to you and say that वो जो एयरपोर्ट के सामने वाली रेस्टोरेंट है ना, उधर ये जो लेट्स से बिरयानी है वो बहुत बढ़िया है, and that really gets the aroma really gets into your heart, and you want to love and keep eating for the rest of your life. When I put something like that, you want to definitely try it, yes or no? MG, do you relate to this? MJ. Yeah. So that's how you make people let's say promote a product, and that is honestly more powerful than any other advertising campaign that you do. So yeah, that is how we make thoda money out of it. Yes, guys. Throughput books, courses, and multi-channel recommendations. One sec. CRICP. Okay, Chris. I don't believe in selling courses because I hate. Wait. A lot of background noise from where?
I got it.
Okay.
So why?
I hate these courses, bro. Like I don't want to do it. I don't want to sell. I mean, I would sell something which I personally see myself using. I don't sell,
Yeah.
let's say,
So,
soaps in my. I don't sell beauty products in my podcast. So that's it.
bro, did you did you take like any courses to start your before starting your podcast?
Yeah, I did take a course of talking to a lot of people. Nothing more. No. It's just
Oh,
experimentation. I'll tell you, if you listen to the first ever episode of High on Tranquility, and 3 seasons later, if you hear the latest episode, you will find a clear distinction because it's a process of learning, right? That's all. That's how we all learn. That's how it works. It's not just. I mean, I come onto the server and talk every day. I chat every day. So that helps me to type faster. उसका मतलब ये है कि I did a course on typing. So that's it, bro. I'll tell you. You don't need
I
to
got
take
it.
courses every time. Just go to YouTube and you'll find everything that you want for free. YouTube is the greatest teacher. YouTube is the OG. I mean, for me, it was OG. Guys, do you think YouTube is OG? Can I see OG in the chat?
And bro, uh,
Yeah.
what do you think? What are the top most skills for podcasting?
One, obviously speaking. You have to tell stories, storytelling. And उसके बाद थोड़ा editing. उसके बाद if you know, उसके बाद design that helps, but not really necessary. And
अभिषेक तुम्हारा माइक क्यों बोला?
okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Next, what's another thing? Okay, guys. If you want to practice something like talking every day, how about we all come onto the server at around 11:30, 12, and then like we just talk about stuff that happened to us today. There is English VC. English VC is there. If you're not comfortable with the time, go for English. This is just an experiment though. Not really sure. You all sleep at 11? Okay. Okay, you mentioned use most free stuff. Initially, I can see you have a HP. Okay, Spectre. Okay. WH1000 XM3. Can you conclude podcasting has a lot of money? Ashish, okay, I really appreciate the core level to which you saw my headphone. Yeah, it is WH1000 XM3. I'll tell you. So it's not like that's not something I earned completely from podcasting, but it is something that I've earned from podcasting. At the same time, a lot of freelance as well. I used to be a freelancer. Yeah, I was a freelancer and I am a freelancer. I will be a freelancer. Yeah. Cool.
I mean, if
Let's
you talk about like talking with people, right? You can join those servers where are like traveling servers are there. You can join them because there are a lot of people who from different countries. They are also
correct.
like
Totally.
if you I did that because there is a server called Yes Theory, right? You know, Yes Theory is
Yeah.
a YouTube channel as well. So yeah, I joined that server and it is pretty cool. I see the
Mm-hmm.
difference when I back when I joined it and now. Like
Right.
there's a lot of difference.
Yeah, seek discomfort is definitely there. Bluelearn here itself, like we are trying to bring stuff that will help almost every single one in terms of okay. So yeah,
Am I audible?
yeah, you are.
Oh, good. So my friend just sent me this like WhatsApp
Okay.
message he got from you, and I'm a massive fan of TRS and those Vegeta. And there's like a discrepancy between those two, right?
Right.
Like TRS is extremely positive, and those cast is kind of going towards the edgy side. And you're talking, you mentioned those two podcasts. Now I'm just wondering, like, first of all, how did you go about this WhatsApp marketing move, and why did you do that, right? And second, like, uh, what was your why did you mention like TRS वगैरह and those cast? ऐसा क्या था कि why
Okay.
did you mention that in the message? Because that was something
Sure.
attention grabbing, but
Yep. So when we look at messaging on WhatsApp, we see WhatsApp as that space which everybody responds to, right? And in the message, when we mention the Ranveer show and then Dostcast, it's nearly 80 to 90% of everyone in our country who listens to podcasts are aware about. They connect to it. Yes or no? If you're if you're in the US, if I talk about Gary Vee, uh, you would definitely understand. If you're in the real estate market, if I talk about, sorry,
I'm sorry, I'm not
sorry,
familiar. Gary, you used Gary? क्या नाम था
Gary
उसका?
Gary V,
Gary V.
Oh, okay,
his
okay.
name is Gary Vaynerchuk. He runs this. He runs a
Yeah.
multi-million-dollar business. He's into marketing. So okay, the reason why we mentioned Dostcast and these is because we are not debating about these two podcasts. This is a session where I'm teaching people how to start their own podcast. And by the way, I run this podcast called High on Tranquility.
Okay. So, like for your own podcast, how long have you been running it and what's it about? I'm sorry, I'm just new to all this stuff and
That's
you're
fine.
starting
That's fine.
something.
Okay. I understand that you joined Reyes now. That's okay. So
Yeah.
I've been doing it from the last 1.5 year, and with it's today heard across 36 countries, and I've built a couple of other podcasts as well. Been a part of Pure Perception Media. Today we have 100,000 plus audience.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
That's
Chandan, I joined late into this session. Can
Okay.
you please say if we have mentioned already how to start a podcast, or we have not mentioned about it?
Boss,
Yeah,
it's
or if
been
you
1 hour
have
20
mentioned,
minutes
then
since we started the podcast.
I'm really sorry, bro. I just
That's okay. That's okay.
got up now. No, it's
That's fine.
completely fine. I can check it out somewhere else. Why waste others' times?
Nee,
I
nee,
can
nee.
continue what you
I
want.
want you to check out here itself on the Bluelearn's Instagram page. Sorry, YouTube page. Yeah, we are gonna upload over there.
Okay, that will be okay. Okay, then I can get it from there.
Yes, Bikash. Okay.
And bro, I have a question.
Sure, tell me.
So you told me that you didn't take any courses.
Yeah.
So do you think that your college play any role to like start podcast, like start this podcast?
I'll tell something that it's not something which I learned in college, but it's something that I've learned outside college in terms of talking to a lot of people. Dude, I'll tell you one thing. When we pay X amount of rupees to a college, we don't pay for the course that they provide. It's honestly the same CS50, even in Harvard and even here in some normal local college here in India. The only money that we pay is for the connections that we get. Is the type, is the let's say is the mindset of people that we get over here. So that in fact helped me to connect to some really, really good people in my college. Yeah, that helped in fact. It helped me to talk better. Yeah.
I got it.
I have one question.
Sure, Abhishek.
Like actually I've just joined into this particular conversation. So
Okay.
as I can see that just a second.
Okay, that's fine. You can just message a question as well.
Yeah,
Chandan, okay, let him ask
I
first.
just want to ask like if anyone wants to start his own podcast like with any person, so like what are the software that are in use, are the best suitable softwares that
First go for Dolby on to help you that helps you to record, and then go for Audacity. There is a 10-minute tutorial on YouTube that talks about that teaches you basics of Audacity completely, like noise cancellation, basic cuts and all. That will help you make your episode final. And once you get that, go to Anchor, and Anchor has all the steps which can help you publish. And after that, you come to me and I'll tell you how to get it published on Apple Podcasts and Audible. So yeah, that's a different ballgame that will take some time. Yeah.
I had a question.
Like the apps like Spotify, they generally pay. We have to pay for them in order to like upload our podcast onto their particular.
No. You don't need to. See, there are a lot of websites that ask you to pay upfront. They ask you to pay $15-20, but don't go for that. This thing, this thing called what do we say? Yeah, Anchor. Anchor is free, so you go for it. Okay, someone. Yes, Bikash, tell me.
Yes, yes. Actually, you did mention about the, actually, I realized you
Bikash, you're not audible.
institutions and not for the course itself. But this is the fact, in fact. But these days, people are trying to market their course, saying that you can do all this course at the convenience of your home, at your doorstep, at your own ease by saving so much of money and all that stuff. So,
I'll tell you
is it?
something. At a point, I hate direct selling and pyramid schemes. So, what is that one common product that these idiot companies do? I want to use the word idiot because they are pretty dark and deep. They are at the end of making a student bankrupt. So that's really bad. A lot of companies do that. So one thing which these companies do is sell useless products to people. Let's say they make people buy products such as let's say a detergent powder. I mean things like that. I mean I can go on a day for that because I really had a serious debate about this with someone else. So okay, the reason why I don't like courses is because courses are like very rigid. Uh, I mean, they don't really help everyone, right? They're like a cookie cutter. Everyone can't be treated in the same way. Every student have to be taught in their own way. So that's what I believe in. At least as of now, this is my opinion that I have. This is what I've learned. That's it.
I had one question.
So,
Okay, you go on. Then I'll ask.
yes, actually, in fact, what I was saying is, nowadays, as everyone is trying to market their product, giving this as a USP, that it is digital. So, don't you think that they will be coming back to normal again to the offline mode because that is eventually what is going to work in the long
Yeah,
run.
I think it will be a combination of both because we are too early to judge
Hybrid.
and we are not in a
Yeah,
position to judge as well. Yeah, that's it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
So if you I think okay. So I had one question. Like
Sure.
I've been a candidate who has tried different ventures, and
Okay.
initially it seems very interesting. Like, oh, podcasting. This guy's doing podcasting. This guy's doing that, and so it seems lucrative. You see how much money they earn, how much products they endorse, and all that shit.
Okay.
And when you get into it, reality hits you, right?
Yeah, obviously.
So my question is, like, we can entry level today to any field is almost zero.
Yeah,
Right.
obviously. Yeah.
It's zero. So getting into the field is not the question here. My question is, what do you do after we are in there? How do we proceed ourselves? How do we
I'll tell you.
create the content that we want to create, and how do we cater that to our audience?
Okay. I mean, I see two different streams that you're asking. Number one, okay, when you start your podcast, you know what the theme that you want to do, right? When you want to do a cookery show, when you want to do a mental health podcast, that's good. You do it, and once you do that, in the beginning, nobody cares about it, but you just need to have your hopes high, and you just need to keep doing the podcast again and again and again. Even though there are zero people listening, imagine that this is your work of art. Even though nobody's looking at your sculpture, you would love to make a product that people love to watch again and again and again. So that is how you just like keep scaling again. That's it. And after
I
that, with
don't
regard to
think
making money, sorry, chair.
I don't think that's what I asked.
Okay.
Like, let me give an example. I was watching
Sure.
an interview of an artist. He was a cinematographer, and he was saying, ki, as an artist, you can't wait for motivation. Okay, you can't wait for audiences to like and give you some ideas. Okay, this is what we like. You have to do your work, and you have to do like completely like professionally. Like as
Okay.
suppose someone who is a banker. But
Okay.
banking is not a very interesting job, is it? You just sit there, and thousands of people come to you and they say, "Mere ko itna paisa do," and all that shit. And it's a very boring job. But you are doing it because, first of all, it gives you money, and second, it's a habit for you now. So as an artist, you have to build up good habits. So how do you do that in terms of management of what you do?
You're asking how my entire structure is, like how my podcast team structure is, correct?
Yeah. How
Okay.
do I structurize my work?
Okay, that is called systems. What we do is like we build something called as systems, which helps us. For example, my work. Okay, there are like couple of people who help me in, let's say, reaching out under the name of Ion Tranquility. They guess They get it.
Mhm.
Mostly 99% of the time, I myself get the people, and if not, the others also cold messaging. ये सब होते जाता है. और उसके बाद, another thing is so that is the first thing. Getting people onto the platform. Correct. Let's say guests, and after that, what is it? You record a podcast. So getting a common time slot and then you record the podcast. Uske baad, the third step is probably editing. So you want one person to completely listen, and you want the other person to, let's say, edit, put the parts that are necessary and remove stuff that are not required. Let's say explicit, NSFW, all of these things can be removed. And uske baad, we go for final brushing. Let's say making a podcast cover, and that's it. We go for a publishing. Nothing. It sounds little tricky. It sounds long, but it's easy.
I mean, yeah, like if you ask a, as I said, if you ask a banker what's your job, yeah, it can give you the day-to-day things. But I was asking about the subjective issues that you have to face. Like if I start a podcast today, and I'm pretty sure, like at this point in life, I know I can do things. So I have that confidence. So if I stick on for almost 6 months or so, I can build up an audience base. I can build up a podcasting business. I have that confidence. But
that's awesome.
When I go there, when things actually start to get difficult, like first of all, okay, I think my question is much more fleshed out now. How do you deal with the issues that came up, like timing issues and all that things?
Timing.
And how, like suppose you are making a meeting with a guest, like okay, आज 5 बजे करते हैं, and he's like नहीं 6 बजे, नहीं 4 बजे. He was being a little more vague about his time.
Okay.
So about first of all that, as the entire subjective problems of managing structure, like sometimes things just happen, yes, but the weird things like some calling issues and all that.
Okay. Fine. I can answer you on a one-on-one message. But I think others also have questions. We'll move to that. But before moving on, I'll answer you.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
So what I did for my first season is that there are these problems that keep coming. Let's say they'll be delayed by a day or sometimes a week. Sometimes the interviews might be delayed by 2 weeks. What I did was, until and unless I had a repository of 6 episodes ready, I haven't released my first episode. We always have episodes in bank, just so to play safe. So that helps. That's a simple solution. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
Hi, my name is Sahil. I actually manage Dostcast. So I want to ask,
Okay, Sahil.
Yeah, I want to ask, what do you think about Dostcast? Your personal opinion on that.
I honestly think it's a good podcast. People might have it's a little hard. It's a little brutal on people, but you guys have been really pulling off a podcast which is loved by a lot of people, including me. There are situations where even the tough times hit. So in some cases, I really love the way the discussion happens. I really love the rage call. I honestly appreciate it. And yeah, that's good.
That's great. That sounds so great. Yeah, about that, one more thing that I'm really curious is, what do you think about the video form of podcasting? I think essentially podcasts are basically audio forms.
Correct.
That is primarily what podcast is.
See, I'll tell you something. Sahil, right? Sahil, what do you do at Dostcast?
I manage everything. The backend
Manage
stuff.
as in
everything that
okay.
you mentioned. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a team of editors.
Yep.
The team management,
Cool.
whatever is gonna go out, the distribution, audits and all, everything.
I honestly didn't think I would get a chance to talk to someone from Dostcast this early.
Yes, actually, I was trying to say that thing. You made the clickbait saying this we are by Sevs and Dotcast, and you got this bait. He might be curious to know that what they are going to talk about to Dotcast, and he came. That's really good.
Actually, someone sent me the link and they said they're talking about those cars. I was like, let's see.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. So, Sal, firstly, welcome to Bluelearn. You're right now in India's largest student community. 80,000 plus people. 60,000 people are on this platform, and 80,000 people are the market size of Bluelearn. So, okay, talking more about what we do, we provide people from tier 2 and tier 3 to a platform where they can combine, collaborate, and they can work together. So, Sahil,
yes.
Yeah,
Glad to be here, by the way.
Talking more about Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that. So, talking more about what I see video podcasts as, I run this another company. I'm a part of this company called Pure Perception Media. Be aware about. I hope you are aware about it. It's in the Telugu industry. We got 100,000 audience only in the audio space. We don't do video podcasts. So that really helped us. I'll tell you, when I see podcasts coming into video, it's a whole different ballgame, right?
Yeah.
When we look at the West, they are used to the audio because podcasts are an extension to the national radio that they had, the state radio that they had. But for us,
Right.
there was a huge gap. If you look at the trends, there was there was this. What do we say? Number one, we used to have radios. There was end of cultural shift to TVs. We came into video, and then the era of YouTube came in, and then for us to go back again to audio, you know this theory, right? The trends keep repeating again and again and again. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So that's where the cycle of this hits in, where people you see this feature when we see Spotify adding exclusive features with Joe Rogan, basically by adding video, Joe Rogan's video onto their audio platform. But when it comes to YouTube, they are making their premium version as something you can even when you turn off your screen. So you find an alternation between these two things. So these two are a big way in which we see the shift from video to audio, because the next big industry is going to be audio. Like, I definitely see a long vision on that, because I'll tell you, like how long do you spend on YouTube? For example, 3 hours a day on a general day, right? Like, that's how much I spend, 3-4 hours a day. Sahil, how much time do you spend on YouTube?
15 to 30 minutes. That's it.
Okay,
I don't
that's fine.
spend time.
So for me, when I'm doing when I was a student, when I was a student back at hostel, I used to do my laundry listening to a couple of podcasts. That's how I let's say I synced into podcasts, and I love listening to podcasts because it helps me to imagine a lot. That's a different orgasm on a whole, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Same here, bro. Same here. Even I do the same.
So it's like people like listening to podcast passively.
But not yet. But India's market is not yet ready for that. Is what I see. So videos, see, that's where Ranveer gets a lot of views compared to the listen. So that's it.
Yeah.
I have
Sorry, I think your voice is breaking. Avlon,
Is this better?
Avlon, it's still breaking.
Okay. What about now?
You can write your question, I guess.
Okay.
Yep.
Another thing I want to ask is that, so primarily our podcast, the audience, the majority of the audience that we have is from north of India.
I agree.
North and sort of like, West Maharashtra and all. What is the scenario there in South? Do people prefer audio more or the video? Like if you have
the P2 business I told, we've built that completely in audio. We haven't started a video itself until now. Till now, we haven't got into video. I'll tell you, those cars has got a lot of leverage, but I think there are a few changes that need to be made, because the podcasting industry is completely different from north to south. Because udhar wo jo discussion chalti hai, a minor few differences can really get it penetrated in the south. Because इधर का लोग बात समझने में तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं, इवन दे आर लाइक मी, बट आई हैव प्रॉब्लम स्पीकिंग. मैं अभी सीख रहा था हिंदी, तो मेरा हिंदी उतना ज्यादा नहीं. Like you have a lot of audience here. If you can truly leverage upon a little bit things, we can really put it off, man. Especially ये जो references you bring in the discussion, if you can make it a little bit South Indian space, you add a little bit of commonality that adds a lot of value. I think we can have a discussion about that post this podcast as well. Sorry, post this session as well.
Yeah, sure. All right, that was
Sahil,
it. That was
Sahil, I want to know. Sorry, that was a.
That was my question. Yeah, I was saying.
Okay, cool. I want you to tell me, based upon the way, let's say I'm answering these people's question and the speaking style. What do you think about it? Is that something good or where I could?
Oh, you're very articulate. I really like that. Like there is this very minimum use of filler words. That's
Mhm.
how I analyze people. Considering I use filler words a lot. Like I put that aside and I look at people. I look how they're speaking, their tonality and all, and it's nice. It's perfect.
Thank
I
you.
like.
Getting validation from you is means a lot to me.
Array.
I'm a 20-year-old living. I'm a 20-year-old experimenting with podcasts. So yeah, that's where I am.
Array, my man. I'm also like your age only. I'm not 30 or 35 something.
Awesome. So hopefully we can see a point where we could collaborate.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome, man.
I'm looking.
Likewise. Looking forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, any questions? Hi, Ritik.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this information, first of all. And
Welcome.
I wanna ask, like, बहुत बार क्या होता है when you are talking to people, in starting you feel really excited and all the stuff like questions and questions, but in between the things get like okay, like it's not a is how to continue the like conversation with excitement, means with the energy, because I
Okay.
feel with myself when I start I am more energetic, but in between when there is a like a repetition or like there is no clear point to ask, so it gets boring. So
Okay.
we don't handle it.
So, Ritik, one suggestion which I'd like to give you is rather making things like, let's say, having a higher pitch in the beginning and then settling down slowly. I would say managing a normality makes a lot of sense compared to this. So, okay, by that, what I mean is when you start a discussion, you start with what he or she likes. Let's say if you're on a date, you ask her what, let's say, how her day was. It's a subjective situation though. Once you start that, you go deep into it, and then you might find a hook which is basically common between you and her, or let's say him. And once that happens, you dwell deep into that. So that is the basic way how a conversation happens. It's not something like a format that we follow, right? It's a common thing which happens so natural. I think this is an art which you learn as more as you speak. Ritik, I'll tell you, 7 months ago when we had the first discussion to the point today when we are talking now, there's a lot of improvement, right? You've been doing really good in terms of, let's say, talking, discussing. So that's great, in fact. So that's how you do it. Tell me honestly, how many people have you talked from then till now?
uh, in regular basis or online, like
Generally,
on
you are like
this.
a lot, right?
Yeah, I'm talking a lot of people like while traveling or while going to college, and in between, if I found someone, I just start.
See honestly, that's the game. That's the game. That's how we all play it.
Actually, what happening is like what I do is like hitchhiking, like taking a lift and going from one place to another. So in this, I talk a lot of people. But what is like if I'm talking to them like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So my energy space is that like first 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But after that, I feel like okay, boredom, move to next thing. That's
Boss Ritik, I'll tell you one thing. If you feel bored, you're talking to wrong people. Go find people who genuinely excite you, whom you feel like there is a lot to learn from. And that's it. That's it.
oh yeah, it's a great. Okay, I was
We
look
can
at
go
that.
for two last questions.
Yes,
Even after
yes,
yeah.
I would, yeah. I would like to ask one thing. Yeah,
Sure.
everyone is mentioning about how to manage podcast and all this stuff, but one main thing is the podcaster, means the host, he should be having evident knowledge about everything that is going around him, because the person, he might be expert in one thing, but they might be linking to so many stuff. So
Hmm.
reading and being aware of the things that are happening around, help to navigate the talk through, right?
Yep,
because
yep,
I
yep.
listened to one of these podcasts called this Bad. Okay, it is in YouTube. Bad. Okay, he literally talks about the ancient things or maybe the research papers or the things that are happening, and the people that he get into his podcast are very good intellectuals. Okay, and when you listen to them and when they talk about things and when this guy he refers that yes, I read this book, and I feel like, man, how knowledgeable this guy is. So having knowledge not just about the means in area of the host that you are talking to, but also having knowledge about the other things will help you navigate the things, then and you will not get bored. Okay, and you need to be curious. A podcaster should always be curious one, that he is excited to learn. If you're curious and you're excited, your energy won't go down. That is what I feel like. You can, and then you can add your points to that.
100%
And
correct.
even
Unless and until I'm curious about the subject which I'm gonna learn, I can't feed my audience, right? Let's say, I mean, my audience are basically people who have interest just like me. Like that's the reason why you subscribe to someone, because you relate with them on YouTube. So the same game over here as well. So for me, what I do is like 2 days before, I do as much as research as possible with regards to let's say I'm getting name a famous personality.
technical Guruji.
Okay, fine.
He
He's
is
pretty
launching
big
his
enough.
2.0.
So when I bring technical Guruji, I spend, let's say, if I'm not someone into, not at all into tech, I'm not at all into YouTube watching his videos. What do? I spend 2 complete days, at least like 2 hours, deep diving into everything that he did. उसका मतलब ये है कि I don't watch every single video. उसका मतलब ये है कि I watch like stuff that he did from the point he started his career till today. उसके हिसाब से मुझे ये पता चल जाएगा कि I know what he did and what he had been through. So that is a hook. I boil it down to one single page. जैसे कि like how I want to run the discussion. Like what are a few things which not just people who are into tech, but also people like freelancers would relate to. So that's how I run the discussion. Just say like I don't get dipole audience, but I get audience of different what do we say, interests. So that's all I do. Honestly, I watch a lot of documentaries and that motivate me.
Chandran, I also want
I
to
think Ritik, sorry, tell me.
yeah, I wanna ask, like, I want to start podcast for my learning. Like, I want to connect with the people whom I want to learn. But like everyone say, like you also mentioned the cold emailing. But I'm not like because right now I'm not very comfortable with that because I have
I
no
tell you.
practice of
See,
cold emailing.
that's where you show them the value that if you come to my podcast, you could be heard across 36 countries. If you come to my podcast, you could be in a place of my exclusive circle. Like that additional benefits is what you provide will get people onto your podcast. I think that is like a very center thing that makes a lot of sense.
Uh, can you please repeat it with really not get an actual crux of your point?
Sorry.
uh, you wanna say like you put the your podcast is listened in 36 countries, so like that I have to create some hook.
I mean, you don't make up these hooks, but honestly tell them what it really is. So that's it. Nothing.
Okay,
Yeah,
so like
they.
what is it?
Okay. Ritik,
uh,
little faster. We have to like.
yeah
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah actually, like what is your structure like when you call email them and if they reply, so how you take from that moment to your podcast, like what do you do?
Dude, honestly, I message them on Instagram. If you think that people with 50,000 followers don't have time to look at it, they do have time to look at it. They look through every single DM. If the
Okay.
DM is not good enough, if it just says that, hello sir, hope you're doing good. I'll be honored if you come to my podcast. Nobody comes because you
Hmm.
have to treat the other person as equivalent to you. Let's say it has
Okay.
to be a talk like 20-year-old to another 20-year-old, a college student to another college student. That's how it has to
Hmm.
sound. I write like a small paragraph saying, "Hey, hi, I'm Chandan. Great to see your work. You've been doing pretty awesome. Uh, I mean, good work, man." And uske baad I write, "My name is Chandan. I run this podcast called High on Tranquility, heard across 36 countries. It would be great if you can. I mean, we would love to have you on the show. Let me know if you're interested. Here is the podcast link. Please go through it. And yeah, looking forward to your response. Nothing more. If they're interested, they would reply. If they're not, it's fine. They don't. Yeah, that's it. And इसके बाद if they reply, I immediately fix a time slot, calendar slot. I message them like one day before saying कि we are having a podcast tomorrow, so be sure you be there. That's it. That's it, guys. Okay, one last question. How did you manage podcasting? Caps, Bluelearn. Okay, this is from the chat. How did you manage podcasting, Caps, Bluelearn, and other stuff? Same time considering the 85% strict attendance. Wait, Ashish, how do you know that it's 85% attendance in the college that I studied?
I will be joining Christ too this year.
Welcome to Christ. So, yeah, I graduated a month ago. So, honestly speaking, CAPS is that department where we try to build EDX of India, the educational space, where education being accessible for everyone. At the same time, I've been the production specialist and the head of, I've been one of the, what's my role? It's called creative strategist. Yeah, creative strategist of CAPS. Yeah. So I used to work 16 hours a day. My last semester has been 16 hours work day. Honestly, I enjoy doing it because there was my research project at the same time. Working this well, it's not toxic. I worked until the point I love doing it. When I felt it's getting like a little out of hand, I take break. That's it. And talking more about managing these things, dude, prioritize what is important to you right now. Do it. Yeah. Is your podcast available on Google Podcasts? Yeah. Yes, because it's available everywhere. So considering 85% strict attendance, it's 85% strict attendance. It's not strict classroom attention. उससे मतलब यह है कि, dude, I honestly learned so much out of class compared to what I've learned in class. College has been a great place for me to network. So that helped me. In fact, I used to, I mean, there are some days where I simply slept in class. But yeah, I'm aware about like what's happening in class, and I'm a good to do student. That's it. I hope it clarified your question.
Yes, yeah, you did.
Cool, man. Yeah. All right. So all the best for your college.
Chandan, I agree with you that you learned a lot in your college. So
yes,
it was a similar thing for me as well. But most of the people nowadays, due to you see on YouTube and everywhere that college life is not at all valuable. You know, you're wasting your time in college.
See, I think it is subjective. For a few, it might be wasteful.
right,
For a few, it is. Yeah, we can't judge upon that, right? We can't make a common statement. Yeah, that's it. That's all I would like to say. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this session. Awesome, guys. Like we almost ran this session for like 2 hours. Seriously. I hope you liked it, and thank you so much for coming. And I'm really glad that you love this discussion. And at the end, I want to say that if you are interested in being a podcast, let's say called Bluelearn Originals, hit me up. I mean, okay, I'm putting my email ID. It's called chandan@bluelearn.in. Yeah, this is what it is. You mail me that you are interested in starting your own podcast, and we'll see how we can take this forward.
Means Chandan, you are asking for the host for the Bluelearn or being a part of the team that Bluelearn is about to launch its podcast? What is it about?
We are not like launching our own podcast. We are launching series of our podcasts. So if you are interested in starting your own podcast, we can help you with mentoring. That's it. Cool, guys. Yep. Let me know how we can improve, how I can improve. Yeah, that helps me. Cool, guys. At any time of the day, you know my Instagram handle, Chandan_Perla, my name over here. At the same time, you can message me over here in Discord. You can message me on Twitter, LinkedIn, every single platform out there. So yeah, it would be awesome.
Yeah. You can connect your like Twitter with your Discord as well. Na? Like
I did. I think you can find it. So in my description, if you tap on my thing, you can find. Oh yeah.
No.
I'll add it.
Okay. Like it will be easy to like find you.
Sure. I'll do it by the next session probably. I mean, yeah.
So, okay.
Cool, man. I mean, we can connect. My name is just that Chandan underscore Perla anywhere. You will find me.
Okay.
My Twitter handle is this ABSOLUTIC. Cool. Thank you so much, guys. See you in the next one. Bye. Hope you had a good time.
Bye.